Garage door maintenance. So I'm at a buddy's house, and this is the stuff that I use on my buddy's garage door. I would say twice a year is a good recommendation. You know, pick like middle of winter, middle of summer. That's a good way to do it. Or you could do spring and fall, whatever, you know, kind of floats your boat. If you can do this 3 times a year, even better. But basically what you want to do is take like a towel, wipe down the track, and then basically re-lube it. So you're cleaning off the old debris, the old dust, the old contaminants that build up on that track, and you're just re-lubing it. So this is Lubriplate, Aero, you know, shrinkflation. They reduce the size. If somebody has a lead on where to get like the bigger size of this, great. But anyways, what I did was just basically squeeze it and just do a thin, super thin little line along the track. Okay, what happens if you have a chain drive, or what happens if you have a screw drive, right? Like a lot of the old Genies have like a screw drive system. What you would do is you would use this inside the screw drive. So basically just hold the tip of the nozzle, just the tip, inside the screwdriver, and just run a thin, super thin, less is more, a super thin line inside the screwdriver. Run, open and close the garage door a couple times, and that should help to kind of distribute it evenly throughout there. And then basically twice a year, you kind of want to do this process. If you have a chain drive or a belt drive, like if that's the type of garage door system that you have or whatever, makes no difference, because this product is what's going on the track itself. There's something called the carriage. Let me pause real quick and I'll show that to you. Okay, so this is I believe it's the carriage and the trolley. Is that what it's called? Or it's just called the carriage, or I can't remember. By the way, hash marks to kind of mark where this should go. The door should close fully, but this should have a little bit of like play in it. If you're way up here like this and there's no resistance, you might want to back off your settings so that you're a little just like this, a little bit in there. Basically, the whole goal is so if I pull down on this, it doesn't go anywhere. If I was too far back or too far forward, you'd hear like a click noise, the garage door might fall, you know, et cetera, et cetera. But anyways, with that being said, carriage, trolley, carriage, I think that's how it's called, or the two of them together or whatever. But same basic concept here is you just want to basically, see if I can do this with one hand without making a big mess. What you basically want to do is get just the tip of this Aero product, just the tip, and basically just put it up here, like wipe it down with a towel first, try to clean it. Basically just put this up here and just a gentle squeeze and push as you go. So I'm barely putting any of the product on there, barely putting any of the product on there. And then basically what happens is once you do everything else that you're supposed to do on the garage door, open and close the door a couple times, and then that'll kind of help to lubricate everything. Let me pause real quick. I'll show you the next step in the process. And we're back. Okay, next step in the process is you could use one or the other, or in some cases you may need to use one, use the other, and then go back to the other one. Let me explain. By the way, persimmons are in season right now, and I'm working for persimmons today with my buddy. But anyways, what's happening is you want to use some kind of garage door lubricant on all of the metal to metal contact points that relate to the hinges, right? And also if you have like older wheels, right? Older wheels where you can actually see the bearings inside the wheels, you might want to use something like this inside to get those bearings like oiled or greased up or whatever. The current wheels, like, you know, 2024, I guess, I don't know when they started or whatever, Quiet Glide, right? Some of those wheels are sealed. So there's no point in putting this on the wheel because you're just going to create a mess. And there's more of a likelihood of the wheel popping out of the track right on the sides of the garage door. So visually inspect, or you might want to ask if you remember your garage door installer, or if you have access to that. Find out if you have a sealed system or if you have an open system where you can actually see the bearings. If you have a sealed system, don't worry about this. If you have an open system, then yeah, you might want to use this or this. What's the difference between the two? WD-40 is a great lubricant, right? It'll go in there, it'll clean, it'll degrease, but at the same time, it'll re-lube whatever's in there, like your hinges, your wheel bearings, etc. What this does is, this works, I would say, maybe about 5% better than the WD-40 does. We're talking a fractional amount of difference. But here, you're paying for that extra little 5% of better performance in terms of you're going to have to do a little bit more cleanup after the fact. So this is basically like lithium. It's like a dried, what is that, Teflon, right? You got that in there. So what's going on is, yes, it's going to work a little bit easier, but guess what? You're going to have to clean out that Teflon every single time you use it. So there's a little more elbow grease involved. You're going to need more towels, more cleaning, or et cetera, et cetera. Anyways, let me go over to the door hinges and all that, and I'll show you how this stuff works. And we'll use the WD-40 for an example. Spring-a-ling-a-ling. Okay, so the springs are an important part of your garage door, right? Every time you call the garage door company or a different company, they're going to tell you, you installed the wrong springs. You need these springs. Whoever installed your door is going to be the right person to tell you which springs you need. Is shorter and beefier the way to go? Is longer and thinner the way to go? Let your garage door installer tell you what's up. But the way that you want to use the WD-40 on your garage door springs, the springs, is you don't want to use this one, the tube or whatever. You want to use just the regular spray one and just give it a good once over spray, and then go do the other stuff you have to do. Open and close the garage door a couple times. That'll help to work that WD-40 in there. If you can, wear your safety glasses, right? Wear some good like gardening gloves or something similar. Grab a bunch of towels and just gently wipe off whatever grit was on there, then spray and get your lube on. What you're trying to do is you're trying to prevent like dust gets in between those springs and acts like sandpaper to basically chisel into each spring. That could cause a premature breakage in the spring. So what you're doing is after you gently clean it, right? Remember, those springs are under a lot of tension. That's why you want to wear some good gardening gloves, some good like thick leather gloves, that kind of vibe. Something you know you can use for this type of purpose that's going to get oily and gritty and whatever. Just spray on a little bit of the WD-40, or you could spray on the blaster gently with a towel, regular towel if you can, like a rag, that kind of like a shop towel, that kind of vibe. Just gently wipe the springs, try to get all around them. You can do the towel over thing, kind of push pull and kind of get that going, but clean them and then just give them a good one time whoosh, like one long spray with, I would say, this part of the nozzle, and try to get it on top and just spray across, and then do the same thing on the other side if you do have another side, just to kind of lube. So you cleaned it and then you lubed it. Okay, let's move on to the next part of the garage door. Hinge, and more hinge. Okay, so these hinges are like the newer system of hinges. I would say like 2023, maybe even before that, who knows. But there are a few key areas that you want to hit on the hinge. So you don't necessarily want to spray dead center in the middle because you're really not lubricating that much or anything. What you do want to do though is you want to hit, let me open up the nozzle tube part. So here's the tube part, right? This is WD-40 can. We're still using the same can. I've got the tube part. What you want to do is you want to hit here, right? You want to hit that part. You want to hit obviously the same on the other side. You want to hit here, right? Which is between these two. So this is one part of the hinge. This is the other part of the hinge. See how the two come together, and there's usually like a washer or something similar in between the two. You want to make sure you hit that. And then what you also want to hit is you want to make sure you hit this part right here. So this is basically where the lip of the outer part of the hinge connects to this part, the lower part of the hinge. Make sure you hit that. Spraying inside here really isn't going to do a whole lot because this is just one tube. It's a solid tube that goes across. At least I hope that's what's going on with your garage door. So spraying inside of here doesn't do anything. You want to make sure you spray this part, right? Do the same on the other side. You want to spray this part. You want to spray between the two parts, right, of the hinge and that washer in there. And then you also want to make sure that you spray this part with the WD-40 or with the, the garage door lube or whatever, but the garage blaster, sorry. But what you absolutely want to make sure you do is, what you can do is spray it once, right? Take a shop towel or something that isn't going to leave behind any lint or residue. Do not use paper towels here because it's going to leave some lint behind, but basically clean it and then respray it one more time and just kind of use your shop towel to kind of pick up any, drippings or whatever, might have dropped out or whatever. Anyways, let's go over to a hinge and I'll show you that part, or let's go over to an actual wheel bearing and I'll show you what that looks like. Lube it up. Okay, so here's what's going on here. As you can tell, that's the wheel itself. And as you can see there, it kind of looks like it's sealed. Is it? Is it not? You know, who knows what's really going on in there. I think my buddy tried to spray in there, like literally tried to spray like right there to try to get some of this grease in there. And I think, or the WD-40 or whatever, and I think it did work. So we'll just continue to do that. So same thing, you want to spray once, take a paper towel, right? Make sure you wipe out the area. Another good thing to do is before you start, excuse me, before you start this whole process, disconnect your garage door, shut off the power, right? Unplug the garage door from the ceiling just to prevent any accidents. Because you never know, like maybe your significant other comes home, your roommate comes home, they open the garage door, your hands are all in there. You might lose a finger. So just saying. Also, make sure to wear your safety glasses because you're going to get some sprayage when you start spraying in there. But basically what you want to do is you want to spray in there. Okay, and then this would be a situation where, yes, you want to spray inside of this area. Just give it one quick squirt because this little plastic part is what rolls or spins inside of this outer, aluminum tube. I think it's made out of aluminum. So make sure you hit that as well. So basically you're hitting here, right? You're hitting in this gap here between the plastic part and that. You're going to hit that, and then you're also going to hit that. If you're able to hit that, just saying, if you're able to hit this part as well, where you're coming back in there, just one little squirt is all you need. So squirt it, wipe it off with a shop towel, make sure that you've cleaned it, as best as you can. Just a good once over is fine. And then re-hit it again with the WD-40 or with the blaster, right? The garage door specifically made product with the Teflon. Hit it, wipe up any excess or whatever, and you should be good to go. What you want to avoid at all costs is do not spray inside of the track. If you spray inside of the track, the wheels have more of a tendency to pop out of the track. So bad idea. Okay, next area, I can just jump to the next one. Next area is up here. See where the cable is? The cable that holds the actual door, that's the cable. The cable rolls and spins around this thing right here, which is your actual like pulley system with the cable. What you want to do is you can hit it now, clean it, hit it again, roll the door up, hit it again while the door is rolled up. It might be hard to do depending on the angles. You might have to hit it from like the side, but or the top. Because remember, your garage door is going to be like right here blocking it. So you want to make sure you come in from the top and around, and just one quick spray again, just to lube up that cable so that cable coils itself onto this pulley very smoothly, very easily. So that's basically the next step. Anyways, let me pause real quick. I'll do one last summary and then we're good to go. And we're back. Okay, so to quickly recap, you can use one or the other. You don't necessarily have to use both. I definitely wouldn't use both at the same time. What I would do is like pick 2 times a year when you're going to do this. Spring, fall, winter, summer, right? Either like polar opposites of each other, quite literally, right? Twice a year, you're gonna clean and lube your garage door. So if you use this, just know that there's a little more elbow grease involved, right? It does work about 5% better than the WD-40 does, but there's a lot more cleanup and involvement when you use it the second time to clean up that spent Teflon, right, and the other materials that are in here. Whereas the WD-40, it's a little bit easier to clean up, kind of get a sense of what's going on there. And then remember, you only want to use the lubricate Aero on the carriage, dolly, and the track itself. If you have a screw drive, this is what you put in the screw drive. Do not use this on the wheel bearing. It's tempting. It's so tempting. I could just put grease in the wheel bearings. It'll help. Don't use this because it's harder to get out, but at the same time, you may run the risk of this going from the wheel bearing into that track where the wheel is, and then the wheel popping out, and then you have a real disaster on your hands. Anyways, I hope this video out there helps someone. I'm the Old Coot, and I'll catch you all on the next exciting video.